Hey there, listener. I am just going to stop you in your tracks for a little sec there, just to make sure that you know the following podcast is all about the third arc of Haikyuu, which covers episodes 1 to 11 of season 2. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen it, but just in case you haven't, press pause and just go watch it because it's the best arc to date and we don't want to spoil it for you. Otherwise, sit back, relax, grab yourself a cuppa because we have got tons to discuss, plus a couple of quizzes and some funner games along the way. Now all the boring shit's out of the way. Let's get started.
Like, wow, right? Oi, 邪魔すんなボケ日向ボケ。おやおや。My Yachi soba bun is saying.
Hello there, friends, and welcome to the third episode of
Ani-Meito.
In today's episode, we will be talking about the third arc of Haikyuu. Do you want to do the honours and give us the lowdown, Fuzzy?
Yeah, let's do this. So we are talking about the Tokyo expedition arc. So we left off last season with the lads like in the pits of despair after they got their asses handed to them by Albajosi.
Asses were handed.
So we've experienced bitter defeat and tangy sadness.
Tangy sadness.
Poor lads, eh?
I know, poor lads, but now that they're going to bounce back, these lads, we know it. This is what this arc is about. We are bouncing back, and you've got to admire that tenacity.
Yeah, when they're crying in the after their little match, ugh, my heart. So what are they going to do about it? That's the question this arc. This arse, lol. Oh god. So this time around we need to learn some new tricks and grow. That's the theme, I think.
For sure.
And Ov's growth for Karasuno means trials and tribulations. Everyone's got to fight a little bit. Everyone's got to bicker. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I got to do my own thing. Can't let anyone get ahead of me. And there's a lot of character dismantling and self-doubt and itchy uncomfortableness.
All the things we secretly love.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to have a bit of conflict before our little cogs can get themselves back together for the true test Spring High tournament. We do all of this in the beautiful setting of Tokyo, revisit some of our fave characters, and we get to meet the new ones we're so excited to tell you about.
Yay! I am so excited to talk about them. I've been patiently waiting for us to discuss this arc.
We get to hit up the Fukorodani group, and we are all about the thinking, the watching, the waiting, the growing this season, this arc.
I mean,
this arc.
There's no such thing as making me watch this arc. You can suggest to do so, and I will do it with ceaseless enthusiasm.
So this one is both of our favourites, let's be honest.
Yes.
And actually, thinking about it, the stories for Haikyuu are quite simple. It's training and then matches, training and then matches.
Yeah, there's no real matches in this arc, which I think actually shows how good the writing is.
It does. And I know this is your favourite for various reasons, but I think I have different reasons to you.
Do
because,
you?
Yeah. I think the bit that you love is the bit that I hate.
Is it? Okay. I don't think we've actually had this discussion so seriously yet. Like, I feel like the first time we watched it, I was just texting you and voice noting you a lot, and we hadn't actually found that time to sink our teeth into it yet. And I don't think I even know which bit you do like or dislike.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out
together. Before we kick off... Oh, go on. Well, I was just going to do my thing real quick.
Yeah.
Hey. Is it true or false? I didn't sound like Bokuto there, did I? Wait.
Hey.
There we go. So, the name Kenma means spine. Is that true or false?
Ooh, controversial.
You guys have a little think, and the answers will be at the end of the show.
So I broke this down into a different way than we've done the other episodes. I actually broke it down into chat themes instead of episodes. So my notes were like episodes, but actually at the end of it, I picked themes to chat about.
Okay.
So
no, I like your style. We can run with that.
Yeah.
I can throw my 2 pence into the themes fountain.
Excellent. So we can talk about the new opening theme and end credit.
Yes. So this is actually my favourite one, and I
like this one too.
And it's like, I don't know if it's just because I associate it with my favourite arc. But it's got infectious good vibes and high energy, and it's just what we needed after losing in that last arc. We needed this pick-me-up.
Yeah, it's a real grower. Like, yes, here we go. Here we go. Pump yourself up. I vibe it.
And then we've got the ending theme, which is Climber by Galileo Galilei.
Is it not when then all the teams are running around?
Yes. Yeah. I love seeing Tanaka running. He looks so serious. So, opening scene. I just want to start by pointing out that in the little match that they're having at the start.
Oh, yeah.
I love how the new and improved Tobio Kageyama now attempts to do a high 10 to celebrate.
Yeah.
But he's still so awkward. He looks like he's being robbed.
Hands up, don't hurt me.
He's trying though, and that's all we can ask of him.
He is, and it is nice to see him trying. And I think we were talking about this the other day about at least why I'm holding off watching the newest season that's already subbed.
Yeah.
And that's because they have so many little background comments that I love. And you picked one of my favourite ones when they're chatting, when Yachi's chatting about being villager B or whatever.
Yes.
And Kageyama's just like, I was a great character. I was the moon.
Let's see the freaking moon.
I was the freaking moon. I love it so much. And I feel like if I watch the sub, I'll miss out on those little moments, yeah?
I agree. And the nuances in the background and the little comments in the back are just one of my favourite examples of why this dub is so good. And one of my favourite examples of this is in the first arc when Nishinoya runs to Kyoko and Hinata says, he's like a horny tornado.
Oh, so good, so good.
Okay, so the first big bit that I've got in my notes is the run-in with Ushiwaka.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you watch the subbed version?
Yes, I did rewatch it in sub because you told me about that joke.
Yes. So I told Fuzzy to watch the sub for some hilarious moments that I love. And for those of you who've only seen the dub, it's back when the lads notice in a magazine that Ushiwaka will be playing for Japan's under-19s. And Hinata kind of gets a bee in his bonnet about him, you know, playing for Japan and being a really good volleyball player. And then we have this moment when they bump into him on the street and Ushiwaka says, oh, you're talking about me. And instead of saying like, oh, it's you, or whatever Hinata says in the dub, he just screams, Japan!
It does hit better, I'll give you that.
Sorry, side note, Hinata was throwing some shade in this episode. Queen Hina throwing some shade.
He was very, very salty. And I like that he came up with the analogy of Karasuno being like a car park. We're from the car park, the paved little concrete car park. Come get us.
I love this bit. It's probably one of my favourite moments in the whole series. And it's funny because with this whole analogy of Ushiwaka comparing the teams to different terrain that plants grow on, he's comparing Karasuno to concrete and Albajosai with like whatever he says, beautifully fertile soil. But really, plants that grow out from under the concrete are surely the strongest, no? And that surely means that these plants that are growing under the concrete must be really strong and resilient.
Really resilient, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
100%.
Snap. So really, he's actually saying they're amazing. He doesn't know it.
And one of my favourite things of that moment interaction is how proud of Hinata Kageyama is. He's like, yeah, look at my little lapdog over there. Look how cool he is. He can jump.
Yeah, he's got such a shit-eating grin on him.
Yeah, he does.
He is so proud. He's like a proud older brother. But the whole jump moment as well. Hands down one of my top 3 favourite moments of the whole show.
Exactly. Although I kind of wish he'd like kept his cool a little bit and then like whooshed it out at the match. So Ushiwaka was like, oh my god, I didn't expect that. But he kind of lets the cat out of the bag a bit soon, you know what I mean?
No, you're right actually. But I think this scene is valuable because it helps us build a new rivalry of Hinata and Kageyama versus Ushijima, and it leans away from things in the past being important, like Oikawa versus Kageyama, you know, and now we've got this new enemy in the form of Ushijima. But I think Hinata feels like he has to, because he's like, what's the word?
He's got a giant chip on his shoulder. He's got to prove something all the time.
He does have a massive chip on his shoulder. And I think this is partly due to the fact that his weakness, which is his height, is something observed and assumed by everyone. It's not like, you look at Kageyama and can tell what kind of setter he is. Whereas with poor Hinata, people take one look and think like, that kid, he's not going to be good at volleyball. He won't succeed. And Ushijima really is no different to those people. He judges him. And then Hinata mic drops in the form of that amazing jump. And Ushijima's like, oh crap. Oh, crap.
So one of the things that really hit me in this start sequence was Kageyama being a dumbass. I mean, who'd have guessed it at schoolwork? He's a dumbass. Like, Hinata, fine, but Kageyama.
I thought he was smarter than that too. And I think the thing with Kageyama, he's a special kind of smart. Sorry to think about that then. It's like we said last time, his intelligence is applied.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, with those two, it's like what we said last time. It's one shared crackhead brain cell and two idiots.
Go get my next hit. Where do I get it? Volleyball.
Gotta get my fix. But another one that didn't surprise me was Tanaka and Nishinoya. But what I love most about that scene is they literally try and run away from their problems.
Yeah, how is that going to fix anything, lads?
Exactly. And it's iconic because Inoshita should have just let them go. Because I, for one, would have loved to have seen where they got to.
How far they would have got before they were like, sorry, what's the plan here, lads? Like... But it's our first time really like having Inoshita in the focus though as well. I'd like to point out, keep that in mind, gang, okay?
First time watchers.
Inoshita's starting to come to the forefront. Learn his name.
Learn his name. He is important. I mean, not that the others aren't, but he's important.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just drawing your focus to it now because it's time to pick up on him.
And then we've got Takeda Sensei. You've got to love his unshakable faith in the ability of his team. That man believes that they can do it.
I don't know. He was very shook at one moment where he just like literally burns out. He's like, I don't think we can do this.
No, you're right. So I'm going to actually take back what I said last time, where I said the start of Senpai's true abilities is my favourite opening scene of any Haikyuu ep. No, I am retracting that statement because this, episode 2, where we pick up from Takeda Sensei telling them that they can't fail any subjects or they don't go to Tokyo, there's just non-stop chaos and comedy packed into this like 3-minute scene, and it just makes me crack up so much.
I love it.
Most chaotic scene in any sports anime, for sure.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is the introduction of Yachi, who...
I like Yachi. She's fun.
I find her really irritating.
Okay. Well, I mean, I must admit, I think I felt the same when I first watched it. And I think it's because she's quite over-dramatic, isn't she? But upon the rewatch and analysing the character, did I realise that she's actually just super introverted, and they're using this character trait for comedy, which I actually quite like. It's a breath of fresh air when comparing it to like other introverted tropes, which are like characters who hate everyone or are just so shy or they're awful at communicating or they're like sad and lonely, whereas Yachi is definitely an introvert, but she's one I can relate to because she feels awkward and anxious in certain situations and is a chronic overthinker. But regardless, she pushes herself to make friends and chat to people, and people don't really pick up on her introversion right away either. But I don't know, that's my thoughts. What's your beef? Wagwan, what's your beef with Yachi?
Wagwan. So when I first watched it, I was really irritated by her. I was like, why are you introducing this new character? Blah. But again, on the rewatch, I was like, what is the purpose of Yachi? Like, she's just some sort of plot device. And I really got into this moment where I was thinking about, what is Yachi as a plot device? What are you leading me to, little lady? And I think she really explores why the boys are so committed to volleyball. That's her role, is to show us why they're so committed, because there's so many moments like the chat about Villager B makes the Yachi think like, now how can I use my talents to better the team? And then she goes on that whole like, I'll take a photograph, make a poster, and she makes a pretty sick ass poster.
She does, yeah, every credit to her.
But I also feel like she's learning a lesson here about being committed to something. Like, even though you're not passionate about it, it's having commitment and finding the passion. Especially with her mum pushing her in this weird way. Like, I don't know why we went on a journey with her and her mum.
Super pushy.
But yeah, it's just an interesting like dynamic and a journey. And why does Hinata get involved? Why does Hinata shove his face in everyone's problems all the time? Step down, little man, okay? Let them sort it out themselves. Jeez.
Because, Fuzzy, he is Mr. Sunshine and Rainbows.
Some of us...
He shines his little ray of sunshine onto people without their consent.
But I think adding Yachi to the dynamic, like Kyoko going out to find her, it makes me a little sad because it's reminding me that this whole thing is coming to an end. You know, the third years are leaving, the team is splitting up, and then we get like
beginning of the end.
We're coming to an end. It's kind of bittersweet.
But so I was thinking the same with Yachi. I was wondering what purpose does she serve? And I think we touched on it briefly last time. She is a plot device for which we can begin to understand the next level of volleyball with. Like, we know the basics and now we need to go up a level.
Yeah.
As well as that, she's a vehicle to re-experience the Kageyama Hinata quick attack magic. That's all reinforced by us watching Yachi's reaction to it. We already know it's something special, but then seeing Yachi and many of the other new characters' reactions, this idea is solidified that it's special and profound.
You're right, yeah.
And on top of that, she is the witness to our big fallout. She plays a really big part in the whole Kageyama Hinata dynamics in this arc.
And their relationship, you know, that they're best friends but also go through this whole conflict this arc. That's really traumatic to watch. She's there vocalizing that for us, which is, you know, its own thing.
It is, and it's good that we have her there as well, because then she also does damage control.
But having watched it so many times now, it just... it comes down to the simple fact that they can't communicate what they're looking for. Hinata wants to be more than just Kageyama's little weapon. He wants to be able to have skills of his own, and he needs to do that by separating from Kageyama and developing himself.
He does.
And Kageyama doesn't know how to support this, and rather than being like, I don't understand what you need, Kageyama just shuts down and is like, this is working, therefore we won't rock the boat. Classic Kags.
No, it is classic Kags, you are right. And whilst he is the new and reformed Tobio in many ways, in other ways he's still a little bit in his old ways.
Yeah, you can't expect change overnight. I mean, come on. He tried to high 10, okay?
Yeah, exactly. We can't ask too much of him.
But yeah, it breaks my heart, but it's necessary. And it leads up to one of my favourite episodes, and that's the Tempo episode, where we learn about volleyball a little deeper.
I love that bit. That's a great bit. So I just wanted to segue into the next chapter of themes, because I've got a really good question from a Discord member called NekoPie43.
Interesting. Okay.
Are you ready for
Go
it?
for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they say, hello Ani-Meito podcast. I've got a question for you. It feels like this whole not caring about volleyball is made out to be way more of a roadblock for Tsukishima than it is for Kenma. Kenma's I don't care about volleyball attitude is treated as a personality quirk, whereas Suki's is treated as an issue he has to work past. Why do you think this is?
Interesting.
I think it's a great question.
Very interesting. Yeah.
I'm going to jump in with my take on it, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because Nekoma have a totally tolerant and even a kind of defensive about Kenma's attitude, whereas the show is kind of calling Tsuki out. But I think the difference is that Kenma is actually a really good setter and he tries for his friend's sake, whereas Tsuki is kind of just playing like volleyball barely.
Yeah, the bare minimum.
Absolutely.
And I think it comes back down to that point that we've discussed multiple times at different points in life about having natural talent and then having talent that needs to be worked on. And some players in all sports have that natural talent that just shines through, and even if they're lazy about it, they still have the talent, you know? They don't have to they put bare minimum effort in and they still succeed. Whereas Tsuki's the kind of character that needs to put the effort in. He needs to push himself a little bit harder to uncover his talent. And that's what the team notices. And that's the thing about Karasuno. They're all like that. They're all like diamonds in the rough, and they just need to sketch it out a little bit more, and then they'll like rise to the surface. And mixing analogies, I don't know what I want, but
I loved the mixture of analogies. I was following you in both directions. I loved it.
And then Kenma says something that really kind of emphasizes that point, where Kuroo asks him, I bet you'd play better if Hinata was on our team. And Kenma's like, no, I couldn't, because I'd always be chasing him. I'd always be having to work harder, and he would notice when I slack off. Yeah. So I think that's the difference, is that Kenma's just like naturally brimming with talent that he doesn't have to kind of redirect at all. But Tsuki needs to really step up his game.
Yeah, he does. He really does. See, you're really good at coming up with like analyses and responding to things like this on the spot. I needed like 4 hours to think of something decent.
I don't know, but what was the Discord person's name?
Oh, Nekopie43.
Nekopie43. If you have a feeling on it, just let us know. What do you think?
Yeah, you tell us what you think. Now we've answered your question.
That's the kind of thing we want. We want more kind of in-depth questions like that stretches in ways.
Definitely. And it actually ties in nicely with what we were saying last time, right? And I had never noticed the parallel between these two characters, and you said it. You were the one who pointed this out to me. And
I think when we were pairing them up in the last episode, when we first met Kenma, we put Tsuki and Kenma together. They were very similar characters for us. Oh, nailing it.
Yes.
We're all on the same wavelength here, gang. Yes.
We're in sync here, guys. So, we're on the one-day camp now, aren't we?
Yeah. The one-day. And we meet some fun new characters. We meet... Have we already met Saiko? I feel like we have, but I don't think we have.
I don't think we've met Saiko at this point. No, this is the first time we meet her.
No, this is our first intro of her, right?
She's great. Clearly insane, but she's great.
She's insane, but yeah. She's great.
Love her. Such a Tanaka.
She's a Tanaka. I also like that everyone who meets her, and anytime they're like, oh, that's Tanaka's sister, everyone's like, oh yeah, I see the resemblance. And it's like, all right, lads. Like, jeez.
There must be a strong Tanaka family look.
Yeah.
They're clearly a very colourful and high-spirited family.
And we also meet Lev.
Yes.
Who's like a bloody giant.
So when I first met Lev, I didn't actually like him that much. Yeah, I thought he was really immature, and I thought, like, you can't just rock up and say, like, hey, I'm the ace. And I assumed he was being malicious and a bit obnoxious, but then I realised his confidence is actually quite innocent, almost like a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah, true. But his character makes me laugh because you expect him to be like this tall, intimidating, like, you know, I'm a volleyball player. But actually, as you get to know him, he's actually really shit. My favourite moments are like in the next training camp where he's just lying on the floor like a pool of like liquid.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I'm tired.
Did you just say you're tired?
Kuroo leaves no stone unturned when whipping him into shape, and I love that.
It's just beautiful. But I have a game for you. Are you ready? Oh,
Do
yeah.
you? Okay, I'm so ready.
So we meet our new teams, right, in this section, and your questions are, for each team, can you tell me what there's like a little description of what they're sick at, and it comes up when do you know what I mean? You know what I'm describing?
Oh, this is when Ukai's reading them, right? Okay,
Yeah. Okay, you ready? So Ubigawa, I don't know how you say it, I've just said it. Ubigawa.
Is that the yellow team?
That's its colours. The second question is, what colours are they? Yep, they're the yellow and green team. Cool, excellent.
What is their speciality?
I
don't think I know. I'm going to have to pass on that. I don't know that one. All I know is fish lips, broccoli head.
They are sick at serving services.
Okay, brilliant.
Shinzen.
Oh, Shinzen. So I know their colour's green, right?
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
What's their speciality? I'm just going to guess because I don't know. Is it blocking?
No, so I'll give you a clue. It's what the lads see and then they try and mimic it. Our third years.
Oh, I know what you mean. Where they're all going at the same time. I can't think of the word.
Yeah. You got it. I'll give it you. It's
The
synchronized
Oh,
attack.
that's it, yeah. I knew this.
Yeah. That's their thing. They're real sick at combo moves.
I knew it. It's fine. I just couldn't remember.
Okay, and next is Nekaba.
I don't think I know their speciality. God, I'm doing really badly here. I'm going to say it's like blocking or strategizing. Because they're quite good at defense, aren't they?
I'll give you this. It's quite hard because at this point things kind of turn to shambles when he's going through them, and you're like, for God's sake, stay on point, man.
Classic Ukai.
So, have you got the colours?
Yes, red and black.
Yeah, red and black. And they're really good. The thing I can't give it to you. I can't give you a clue.
Oh no. Is it like digging it up again?
Kind of. The thing that they're good for is striking back, countering. That's what he says. That's how he describes it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's so annoying.
They're real good at digging it up again. Do you remember Coach Nekamata was like, yeah.
For God's sake, this is all coming back to me now.
And finally, Fukorodani. Lads.
Okay, so Fukorodani's jersey is white. Isn't it like, it's black with gold trimmings, isn't it?
No.
Or is it a dark grey?
No, they're blue.
Of course it's navy blue.
Yeah, you got it. You put it together. And actually, their description's a bit shit. I found it quite hard to come up with the answer for this. But go on, what have you got for their description?
I'm gonna go spiking just because of Bokuto.
It's they're a powerhouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
bit underwhelming.
I know, right? Like, what are you playing at? That's not a description. But that's what I got from the text and Ukai speaking.
Honestly, I enjoyed those questions, but I thought I would have done better. I'm so disappointed with my performance. I was so ready.
Yeah.
And then I got basically none. So, but I hope everybody at home did much better than me. I've been an absolute shambles.
You got it. You did it good. I think the descriptions were bang on is basically the summary.
Thank you.
So we've been to our one dayer, and then our lads get into that massive fight.
Oh, the lads. The whole thing with Hinata is, I want to ask Hinata, how does it feel that none of your teammates have faith in you now? Because that's what Kageyama had before. So the tables have now turned. Everyone is on Kageyama's side at this point. No one wants anything to change. Which, I understand, but I also understand Hinata's predicament.
But I think Hinata would be like, what do you mean? Everyone always has faith in me. I have to prove it to them.
It's the sunshine.
Yeah, exactly.
Bless him.
He sees the best.
He does. And I think what makes really well-written drama is when the audience can see both sides of the argument really well. And whilst I understand Hinata's predicament, I do think if I was in their team, I'd agree that considering the time frame left, it's a very drastic thing to try and change. Yeah. And it could render the quick attack basically useless if it's not sorted out properly.
But I think the thing that Kageyama's getting at is that there's just not enough time for him to go off and become a sick-ass player. But yeah,
the fight's so intense though, and it's interesting because it brings the mood back to their previous shortcomings. This tension of the two clearly hasn't been fully resolved yet. It's quite distressing. Like Tanaka has to come and sort them out.
It is. Tanaka has to come. There's a little bust up. There's punching.
Yeah.
And I think Hinata says something. He's like, for the first time, I've not just got a teammate, I've got a friend.
I know. And now I love them.
I know.
These boys are my adopted children. I can't see my children fighting like this. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, exactly. But after they go off and do their own individual training and whatever, I love the moment where Coach Ukai has to hunt down Kageyama and he's like, you gotta do this. Yeah.
He's just shouting down the phone to him. Kageyama's face is so funny.
And Kageyama's brain burns out as Yukai's trying to explain what he needs to work on, and he's like, But my favourite moment is when they come back together at the next training at the summer camp, and they have their first attempt, and they both turn to each other, and the voiceover's like, he's not the same player, he's changed, he's different now.
Yes, I love that bit too. They're this dude is different now.
But again, if they just communicate,
Use your words, lads.
Use your words.
God, they should rewrite the blurb of Haikyuu from volleyball focus to two lads learning how to communicate and talk to each other. That just should be what Haikyuu's about. Also, when Hinata tries to take that ball from Asahi, and you can really feel that tension, everyone's like...
And just to quickly comment on Asahi's new hairdo, I hate it. I prefer man bun.
You prefer man bun?
I prefer man bun.
I quite like the little low number with the headband. I think he looks lovely. I think it suits him very much.
Oh, but the headband looks ridiculous.
Catch up, man.
Also, out of nowhere, Kyoko's like, you're going to lose all your hair if you keep it that tight. Like, hi, Kyoko. Nice to meet. Like,
she doesn't speak for like a whole season.
Like, what is this? Not said any words for two arcs, but all of a sudden, strong opinion about the hair loss. Wow.
So, new character, Ukai, but Ukai Senior.
Big fan.
Big fan.
Big fan of this, like, abrasive weird man. And I love that he calls Hinata all these weird names like Munchkin and Short Fries.
I tell you what I really love about this little mini subplot of Ukai going to his grandpa is he is coming to his grumpy senile grandpa for help, and it shows how much of an amazing coach he is on all fronts because he's willing to get ragged on by his old man.
He is.
And endure this for the sake of Kageyama and Hinata's development. He obviously really believes in them, and I mean, we say it, I feel like we say it every episode, but what a legend. He's just such a legend. I love him.
Indeed. Top man, well done. Where do we go after that?
So I've got Kageyama trying to change and opening up to others to help him grow. And this perfectly culminates with him approaching Oikawa, the trash king. This is always an entertaining scene for me because it's just like Oikawa is so petty that his nephew calls him out on it, and the whole scene just lives rent-free in my head. And I love that we get some Oikawa in this arc because I didn't think we would, because we've got no matches or anything. So it was actually quite fun to get a little side order of Oikawa. So I like Oikawa, number one, because he's a trash king, and number two is he is a vehicle to deliver the real talk that people like Kageyama need to hear. He basically says, well, you're still a tyrant, and that's where your problem lies.
He did. Do you even know why you're having such a hard time dealing with Short Fry's request?
And he just says it in the most sassy way. But I'm just going to break this up real quick by telling you all my fun fact of the day. Also, you go on.
Someone at work, some random person, my senior at work, started going do all day, and at one point I turned to her and I was like, "Have you watched Steins Gate?" And she was like, "What?" This is a middle-aged lady, by the way. And I was like, "Oh, it's an anime."
Oh no!
And the character in it goes do all the time, and she was like, "Have I been making that noise all day? I didn't even realise." I was like, "God damn!"
Your mask came down, Fuzzy. The mask came down. You're not a doctor anymore. You're a weeb.
You're like, "Hi." Literally. And I was like, oh God, it's in a work environment. Put it all back together. Like, close the curtain. Oh God. Anyway, fun facts for you.
Fun facts for all of you. So today's fun fact is all about popularity polls. So a character popularity poll was conducted by Weekly Shonen Jump back in 2013 with 26,000 votes casted. Kageyama was the top scoring character with 7,500 votes. In 2015, a second popularity poll was released with a total of 53,000 votes casted. And this time Hinata was at the top with 13,000 votes. And our boy Suga, by the way, Fuzzy, was 11,200 votes. He was very closely behind. But then all these popularity polls got turned on their bloody heads in May 2014, right? Get this. So this famous Japanese manufacturer of anime merchandise did their own independent popularity poll, and over 500,000 votes were casted.
Oh my God.
But in third place was Kageyama with 54,000 points. Hinata beat him just with 55,000 points, right?
Interesting.
So with 271,000 votes, who do you think came first?
Who comes first? Please be Kuroo.
It's not Kuroo. So with 271,000 votes, sorry, the Kurasano vice principal.
What? What? He doesn't even have a He's a vice principal.
He won by a landslide. The toupee principal. This is why we don't have nice things.
Oh my god. There must have been something happening. There must have been something we're not privy to here that's happened.
Absolutely. I'm looking at you, Reddit. And there was someone who was like... Someone was like, right, let's fucking vote for the vice principal because that would be hilarious.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
We were not privy.
We were not privy. Anyway, that's enough fun facts for today.
Oh, mate, those were juicy fun facts. Well done. Well done.
You are more than welcome. So where are we up to now? We are on the summer camp.
Okay, so I know this is your favorite moment, and I love these episodes because I love like seeing them all at camp and seeing all the other teams.
Me too,
and I
me too.
know you love the Tsukishima character development here.
I do.
I know you do. I find I love it when he develops, but I find it super irritating when we like etch into his backstory. I'm just like, oh god, obviously there's hurt there. Something's like upset him, and now he has to overcome it. And here we go. But go on, sell it to me. What's your love for it?
Okay, so my love for this subplot, it came along from the fact that when I first watched Haikyuu, I honestly had no respect for Tsukishima. I actually would go as far as to say I hated him. And I just thought, oh, he's like a snarky bully who makes fun of like our happy-go-lucky protagonist, right? And he's too cool to try type, and I just hate those. And also he was a bit of an energy vampire, like sucking the fun out of other characters' journeys for me, and I just hate those kind of characters, right? But then we're at the camp now, and we begin to see him struggle, and he's actually out of breath when they're running up the hill, and a part of me was like, yeah, good. It's about time, actually. It's about time he actually tried. And then we get this backstory, and you know, it's, in the grand scheme of things, no, it's not horrendously traumatic. It could be way worse. But it was clearly enough to tap into his soul and change him profoundly and deeply, and that tells me all I need to know about the richness of his true emotions. Like at the beginning of his story, we're led to believe that he is like insensitive, combative, dismissive of emotions. But upon seeing how hurt he is from Akateru's betrayal and how that changed him, I realized that this guy can feel pain and how much it really stung. And that's why that shell is so hard and tough, because he probably wants to avoid anything like that again. And yet he finds himself drawn to volleyball because he probably does really enjoy it. And I do admit it's a thing I love, like these cold kind of characters with a painful past. I know it's a trope and I love it. It is my thing. But Tsukishima Kei, I went from hating this character to finally understanding him and having this mad respect for him. I suppose to analogize Tsuki in my head, like if he was a painting, sorry, I'm just being an artist now. If he's a painting, at the start, he's just this super abstract, like black and white, pointy straight edges, gives nothing away. And then by the end, he's painted in a really full light. It's deep and beautiful with contrasting colours and quirks and imperfections that flourish. And I suppose just to sum up, like the subplot, which I nearly enjoy as much as that bit, is the whole opportunity that we're granted to see my favourite trio, Akaashi, Kuroo and Bokuto, bring him out of that shell. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful mix of colours on that canvas, and now that trio, and Bokuto in particular, want to make sense of it and create a masterpiece. And I just love it. It is my favourite part of the whole series. I'm here for it. And I honestly, this is my comfort show. This is, whenever I'm feeling down, I just watch that subplot, like those three episodes that are centered around Tsukishima. Yeah. And I just want to say thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay, fine. To be fair, that is a pretty like enticing story. You know what I mean? Like it drags you in, it sucks you up. But I don't like going into the flashbacks of seeing Tsukishima and his brother. But I love the interaction with my favorite trio, and like how Tsuki just gets wrapped into it. They're like, hey, skinny lad with the glasses, come on over, help us out.
Hey, skinny with the glasses. As if skinny wasn't enough.
I love it.
So that actually just reminds me, I found a really cool YouTube comment, and I thought I would share with the class. So credit where it's due, the user is called Jay Lee. And they say, I love the symbolism in this show so much. For example, Tsukishima is supposed to represent the moon because of his name. Bokuto and Akaashi are owls and Kuroo is a black cat. You can clearly see in the same way that owls and black cats are nocturnal and are often associated with the moon, that Kuroo, Bokuto and Akaashi are naturally drawn to Tsukishima for some reason. Right? They're very cool. I really like that observation. This is why I love the internet.
Yeah. I really like that.
Me
Because I always wonder why they drag, like, why do they decide to drag on Tsukishima? Why are they like, and in my head I was like, is it because Coach Nekomata was the one who noticed that Tsuki wasn't growing and he maybe made a comment to Kuroo? But actually, I like this explanation way more. Like, they're just like...
Me too, and I think that's more Fukorodani in a way. Because we know how much Sensei likes symbolism and animals, but, I mean, what you said could have actually happened as well, because... Kuroo does work closely with Coach Nekomata, and with him being very sharp and observational, he knew in order to make Kurasuno the ultimate rival worthy of the trash can showdown to please his coach, it was just vital for Tsukishima to not waste his potential and to become better. You know, he was like, hang on, you're going to have to start pulling your socks up, lad, and I'm going to whip you into shape.
Here we go. Here we go. And again, that's another reason why Kuroo is so great as a character. Yes. Like, when Hinata inserts himself into their, like, private sessions, he's Hinata, as always.
As always.
He's like, he sees Hinata's face when they have to wrap up quickly, and he's like, shorty, we'll pick this back up tomorrow, like... just to give Hinata that little extra little bump to be like, you know, and I love him. He's so good. He's so perceptive of the situation, and that's what makes him a great blocker as well. The perceptiveness,
and just a great captain. Couldn't agree more. I mean, I know you're the master worshipper of Kuroo, but yeah, you've totally converted me. He's the best. He is great. Yeah. He's the man.
Exactly. We all bow down to this. And even their, like, interaction, Bokuto isn't even on his bloody team, but he's got such good banter with him that, love it.
And love my fave, Akaashi. But he does, and they seem like really good friends, which is very sweet, actually. Yeah. And I love how Akaashi and Kuroo kind of semi-bully Bokuto. Like, that's another one of my comfort watches. I will go onto YouTube and I watch them bullying him.
Oh, I love it so much. They keep him level and grounded, and I think Akaashi wouldn't be able to handle it by himself. He needs someone else to bounce off, or else he would, like, rip Bokuto's head off at some point.
He would. I mean, he could be really big-headed, can't he? But yeah, they ground him. Really quickly, actually, before we go even deeper into our favourite trio, before I forget, I just wanted to touch very briefly on Asahi being an excellent senpai to Tsukishima. I feel like he takes on this role really well, and kind of quite subtly. He's not overbearing or obvious about it, because I think if he was as well, Tsukishima would kind of notice. I think he understands his predicament, especially as they're in similar positions with how Hinata is a bit of a threat to both of them. You know, because like last time, what is it that Tsukishima says in the last arc? Like, Hinata does the damage or something like that. So Tsuki tries and bottles up his feelings towards Hinata, but Asahi observes this.
But Tsukishima also isn't all that great at bottling up his feelings, because he asks very, like, pushy questions that you're like, all right, pal, I see what you're thinking. Where he asks Asahi, he's like, don't you find it annoying that Hinata is like this and he's like trying to come for you? It's like,
yeah, it's a very loaded question, and I like what he says after it, and he says something like, the feeling that you're about to be eclipsed by someone else.
Yeah, and I think, given that he's such a cool bloke, that he asks a question like that, I'm like, oh mate, you're so basic, you're giving away your, like, you're showing your true colours there, jeez.
Come on, Tsuki, play it cool.
Yeah. I think he's looking for the reason to be passionate, and all he's seen so far is let down. You know, his brother got let down, the team is always being let down, they keep losing. Even though they keep climbing up, they still keep losing, and to him it's just like, what's the bloody point? Because we're going to lose in the end, you know?
Like, it's because it's what he says to Tadashi, where he's like, okay, so let's say we go to nationals and we win. But then you're going to
Yeah.
have to lose at some point further down the line, which I understand where he's coming from, but you just can't have that cynical, defeatist attitude towards everything. Otherwise, you're just never going to have fun, right?
Which was really interesting because I was like, how are they going to overcome this? Like, what's going to be the thing that pushes him beyond that? And then Tadashi runs up to him in the moonlight and is all like, it's our sense of pride. What do you mean? And I was like, no way can this one dirty as fuck comment change Suki's whole perspective on this situation. And thankfully he's like, Tadashi, when did you get so cool? But also, I'm not convinced yet. I'm going to go ask some other people. I was like, thank God you went to do that, because I was not convinced either.
Oh my God, bless him.
It's our sense of pride!
What more do you need? He's so good.
Jeez Louise, Tadashi. Like, this
Bloody
is
hell,
what-
yams. Where did that come from?
Uh-huh.
But the tension here.
Well, as we know from our recent fanfic delving, they are a true couple.
Well, so I don't know if we mentioned this in the last episode, gang, but Fuzzy has become quite taken with this fanfic, right?
Uh-huh.
I read it very briefly. I think I've read a couple pages, but I need to continue reading it. But actually, now we're on Yamaguchi and Tsukishima, I have got my hot take of the day.
Oh, go on then. I'm ready.
So, my opinion is, I don't really think Yamaguchi and Tsukishima's friendship has ever been that sweet.
Okay.
I think Tsukishima is constantly kind of dismissive of Yamaguchi, kind of right from the start when he saves him from the bullies all the way through to high school. On the other hand, yeah, Yamaguchi obviously wants to be on Tsukishima's good side so much that he mimics his behaviour and pretends to be tougher than he is. It's honestly, for me, it's good that they join a club where Yamaguchi can at least have interactions and develop himself independently outside of his friendship with Tsukishima. But I can't help but feel like he's in his shadow a bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, now you've read your fanfic and you're really on the Tsukishima Yamaguchi train. You tell me, you give me a bit of your insight. Tell me what I'm missing out here. Is there something I'm
I
missing?
see what you're saying. saying. And I would have agreed before I read this fanfic.
Share with the class.
I really need to credit the fanfic to the person who wrote it. But so the thing in the fanfic is that Tadashi is so his own character and so like evolved and emotionally evolved in himself that even though Tsuki kind of shits on him sometimes, Tsuki can see this thing in Tadashi where he's just like so oblivious and comfortable in his own skin, but Tsuki's so always uncomfortable. Like there's always something that's like not quite right. He's just always on edge, but Tadashi's just like giggling away, living his best life, you know, and but he still wants to be friends with Tsuki for some reason. Like nothing makes sense to Tsukishima. He's like, how can this like innocent little elfin boy want to hang out with me, this gremlin under a bridge who's like broken?
That's actually really sweet.
So and then obviously they develop feels for each other.
Of course they do. Okay, I'm very shocked because I mean, I don't know how long you were just explaining that. That was very short and you've already convinced me. That's very sweet because I think I've never really thought about that, the fact that Tadashi actually chooses to hang out with him. Like I kind of saw it more on the other side that maybe he just didn't have anyone else to hang out with. But now I think about it, he's quite a positive guy, but he seems to get on with a lot of his other teammates. And if he really didn't like Tsuki that much, I'm sure he could just choose not to hang out with him. But he does. So you make a good point there.
It is.
I like that.
I do want Tadashi to have a bit more of a character moment because I don't think he has it here. Like all he's had so far is I was bullied as a child. This is why I'm friends with Tsukishima, and then we'll have his like whole serving thing to come, but we don't get as much from him. You know, he's just all like Asahi's like, I'm gonna go practice my serves, and he's like, oh, I should do that too. You know, like he has these little thoughts like when Nishinoya saves his serve real easy and Nishinoya's like, oh, that was really difficult actually, Tadashi, and then in his head he's like, so why did you make it look so easy?
Yeah, cheers Nishi.
Yeah, we just have little moments of Tadashi and I want him to have a bit more of a moment, but I think I'm wishing for the world.
No, you're not. I completely agree. From what I understand, I think we do get that soon in arcs that are yet to be animated. as in the manga. But I think it does happen soon, but I totally agree. And what is nice about Yamaguchi is that he is so nice, and he's obviously Tsuki's best friend, but he could have easily been relegated to that sidekick archetype who's kind of boring, but he does turn out to have a lot more about him, which is refreshing, and I just can't wait to see how he eventually develops. But as it stands, his little bit of backstory that we did see, I do enjoy. He is the cutest Haikyuu baby so far, bless him. And when the bullies say that he cries at everything, it just instantly got put into the cinnamon roll club.
I love your cinnamon roll club. I love it so much.
They need to be protected at all costs. These guys need to be protected. Excellent reply to the hot take. I thought you'd never cool my hot take, but girl, I have been iced.
we love a turnaround. We do.
So good.
So where are we up to on our lads?
Oh, so we're back on the trio and Tsuki.
Yeah, and there's that thing about when the three of them are together and Tsuki comes up to ask them a question and they're like, oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah? Yeah, what is it in the sub?
It's oh yeah.
I did have to go back and watch that in the sub because you guys convinced me that maybe it was better, and it was better, thank you. Well done.
It's way better. But it just doesn't convert the same into English. Like oh yeah, but it's like oh yeah. It just sounds weird and great. I feel like the dub really tried their best, but it's hard to do when that's already so perfect.
But they did it well. I think they did it props, so they gave it what it needed.
Oh, absolutely. I think my favourite part of that whole scene is the fact that Akaashi is the one who started it. and
I'd love that Kuroo gets sucked into the oh yeah, and then Akaashi's like, lads, you need to calm the fuck down and let him ask his question. Like, jeez.
This is what I love about Akaashi, and this is where we properly meet him. He's on that similar cool level to Tsuki, and he's probably as intelligent as Tsuki, but he does a lot better in handling the himbo that is Bokuto and the chaoticness of Kuroo.
He hasn't asked it yet. Like, give him a chance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hang on, guys. Bokuto is definitely the himbo of the group, but we love him, and it's absolutely fine. And Kuroo's the hype man.
He's the dunce of the group. Yeah.
Bokuto is definitely this.
But we love him.
Oh, we love it. It's fine. I wouldn't have him any other way. I'm going to be honest with you, because I think if Bokuto was serious like Akaashi, it just wouldn't be as fun. Imagine Bokuto dishing out wisdom to Hinata and Tsuki, but as serious as Akaashi. That would not be as fun. Yeah. It just makes his character how goofy he is, and it just provides comedic relief in a time when we're needing to develop and grow.
Yeah. That is very true. That is very true. He could easily just have been like Tsuki's little hitman, just being like la la la. Yeah. But he's more than that. He's more than that.
So we can talk about Bokuto and Akaashi again in a minute when we go on to the other match, but where are we up to next?
So we move, we've the lads have done all their new skills. Kageyama and Hinata reunite. Beautiful moment. And I love that moment where Kageyama's like, I feel good. I feel really good. I think we should try this out.
Yes.
I swear he's done this before.
Your impression of this was bang on.
Oh my god!
So gang, Fuzzy sent me a voice note doing an impression of Kageyama at this point, and it's one of my favourite things. I just love it.
It's like my stomach's empty, but I'm not even hungry yet.
So serious. He comes out with the weirdest thing.
That whole sequence of events. I now remember why it's stuck in my brain, because as I was watching it, I was sending you voice notes of me being Kags and being like,
it must be something to do with the barbecue.
It must be. Daichi's little spying. But also, how did the lads not work out that there was something cooking? There was something afoot, because instead of running up the little hill now, they got to do those flying laps again. Why weren't they
well noticed.
Suspicious? But nope, everyone's on board,
Actually, I didn't even notice that. So I would have been part of the meat crew. I definitely didn't notice that.
Exactly.
Well observed. Part of the whole thing, though, is Kageyama just trying to fit in, and this was the crowning moment for me when I realized how great Kageyama is. At first I just thought he was weird, and now I think he's weird and hilarious, and he's great. I really appreciate him in this arc. I'm a weirdo too. I'm included.
He's like, I like meat. I like it too.
Exactly, yes. She's gold. Kageyama gold right here.
He's like broken weird, and we love it. We love it so much.
I think as well, prior to this point, I would have thought he'd be too embarrassed to do stuff like that, but he really clearly doesn't care, and I love that about him.
I think watching it the first time, I just thought he was like a bit of a like strange character, but actually he is hysterically funny, and his like weird neurodivergent way of thinking, I'm so vibing it. I love it so much.
Me too. And also another great thing about Kageyama in this arc is not only do we learn how funny he is, but we're really shown how gifted he is. You know, that throw is amazing. That set is amazing.
I don't think we fully appreciate how much Kageyama has had to do to perfect that throw. Like, that is a sick throw. Like, it goes up and then it hangs and it falls straight down. Like, oh my god. Like, and then he can do it from any position and get it in the perfect, like, just do it perfectly. Like, oh my god.
I think because they're our team, we almost take this for granted. And then when we see these other characters that, as we've mentioned, are used as a vehicle to re-experience the Kageyama and Hinata or Karasuno magic, it's then reiterated to us how amazing this is. Like, I think Akaashi even mentions this at some point. He's like, I don't think I'd be able to do that. It kind of stops midair, you know?
Yeah.
So it really is supposed to be amazing, and it gives me chills when you think about it. And then what's great about this little mini match, though, is that we get the best bits of Akaashi and Bokuto time, and it's my favourite because we get emo Bokuto, which is one of my favourite bits of the whole season.
Yes!
I love emo Bokuto, but what I love most about this mini match is how we see Akaashi come into play on the court. Like, I mean, you know that he's basically my favorite character, and especially because he reminds me of someone special to me. But I just love that he's able to organize this chaos that is Bokuto. I don't think anybody else would really be able to handle him. Even Kuroo, I think, would get really irate with him and couldn't probably handle him, whereas Akaashi just knows how to do it. And I also love that moment when he's just about to set to Bokuto, and I think it's supposed to be like 2 seconds, but it's slowed down in his head, and he's considering all the different outcomes of what's going to happen when he sets to Bokuto. And I just love that. I love this insight into how Akaashi's brain works.
He's just really good at like detaching himself from a situation and being like, lads, give us a hand. We've got to hype up this machine again. Like, let's go.
Exactly. It's a great moment. But on a more serious note, like, where would we be in this arc without Bokuto? He is an invaluable character because I feel like he's the only one really who lights that fire in the belly of Tsukishima and Hinata. You know, he is so valuable and he's so wise. He's this big giant owl who takes his little crow fledglings under his wing and teaches them what he knows.
Surprising, considering he's such an airhead. Like, he's very insightful. Yeah.
Who'd have guessed? Yeah. I mean, what we eventually see is that, unknowingly, he plays a really big part in the lives of these crows. You know, the events that eventually unfold in the next couple of arcs are all because of him.
Yeah, it's true. But I also love that everyone watching from the sidelines is also like, yeah, Bokuto's pretty sick. Like, he's a good hype man. Like, he gets everyone excited. And you're like, yeah, he does.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool because Takada and Ukai notice this too. And it's just heartwarming. It shows what a great character he is. Just before we wrap up, I have got a quick whip round of questions.
Oh God, okay, I'm ready.
So I'm going to put 2 minutes on the timer and I'm going to throw a bunch of questions at you and you have to answer them as quickly as possible. Are you ready?
Yes, hit me.
Cool. So, what move was Nishinoya learning during this arc?
He was learning how to set from jump up and make a set. Yes.
What number jersey does Bokuto wear?
Oh fuck! I don't know. I feel like it's 22.
Okay, you can
pass. Number 1. Pass.
It's number 4. Okay. Can you name all the schools that took part in the camp?
Yes, I can. I definitely can because I tested you on this myself. It is Ubigawa, Nekoma, Shinzen, and Fukorodani. And Karasuno.
Yeah.
And Karasuno.
Okay, quick. What does the name Tsukishima mean?
The moon. Something about the moon. Moon Island.
Oh, yes, yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh.
What position does Kuroo play?
He is a middle blocker.
Yes,
He's a blocker.
Yes.
Is he a middle blocker?
Yeah,
Nailed
wicked.
it.
What analogy does Tsukishima use to describe the feeling of when he can't see his brother at the Karasuno game?
Yeah, pass.
Okay, it says it's like his favourite character dying in a movie. Okay, next question. What insect keeps showing up outside the gyms during this arc?
That stupid stag beetle, which I don't really understand the relevance of. Yes, next.
According to Ukai Senior, how many tempos are there?
4. Third tempo, second tempo, first tempo, and 0 tempo.
I got 3, but no, you've made a good point. There were also minus as well. So anyway, we can discuss that afterwards. Okay, next one. Oh no, time's up. Okay, well, I'll tell it you anyway. The Karasuno gang learn what 2 types of blocks? What are they called? The 2 types of blocks that they learn earlier in this arc.
Read blocking. And...
No.
I don't know. What's the other type of block he learns?
I got soft and kill.
Oh my god. I also hate that moment. Thank you, Yachi, for explaining to me what's a soft kill and what's a soft and what's a kill.
The old soft and kill blocks. You gotta remember them.
I should have known that.
That's it.
Oh, what was the last question that I didn't get?
Oh, it was, the last question was Tsukishima's brother, Akateru, played what position when he was playing for Karasuno?
He played middle blocker. He was an ace as well.
That was it, ace. Yeah, I would have given it ace. Yeah. So, back to the very last section before we wrap up. Where did we get up to? So we got to the end of that little match. And just before we close that, I just want to say that I adore Akaashi doing the setter dunk. I could just have that moment on loop again and again. He's so smooth and cool, and he knows it. Little Akaashi KG, Look at him go.
Love it. Live for it.
You're just watching quietly, and then he makes his move
because he's quietly observing all things. He's a little sponge.
He is indeed. Anyway, I think it's time to wrap, isn't it? We
wrap up this arc with them heading back to school, and they're just ready. They're ready for the tournament. And then
that's it.
That's it. That's the end of this arc. And then the next arc starts from episode 11 until the end of season 2. So watch along. Keep up. We've got a lot more to go.
Okay, Fasila, before we wrap up, who is your MVP of the arc?
Ooh, Bokuto. For sure.
But tell me why.
Because he has these little nuggets of wisdom for everyone that he's doling out, and he keeps he just keeps us all on our toes. He's our hype man of the season. He gets us there. He takes us to the end. Well done. Good job, him.
Completely agree. And there's no debating it, really, is there? I mean, I've got to say, though, credit where it's due. If there was a second place, it's got to go to Kuroo, because I think he understands his coach's wishes to have that ultimate rivalry and showdown before he retires. He wants Karasuno to improve, and I love that.
Yeah.
What's so weird about me being nice?
My volleyball brethren.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we owe a lot to Bokuto. Like, if it wasn't for Bokuto, what would we have got out of this camp? Like, yes, I know that everybody learned something on the way. We do. But we wouldn't have had as many laughs, first of all. And secondly, our Sun and Moon would not have had that little fire that was lit in their bellies. And we see in the later coming arcs how much of Bokuto's impression has affected Karasuno. And yeah, that's that. The arc kind of embodies everything I love about Haikyuu. It's got a little slice of life humour, but we learn a bit more in detail about the new techniques of volleyball on the way. And a little bit of character development. It's got all the goods, you know?
It is true. It's got us hooked. Yeah. On your wrap up, what's your favourite episode of the arc?
My favourite episode, without a shadow of doubt, is Illusionary Hero. Because this is the one that rocked my world. It turned my feelings for Tsuki upside down. And there's an added bonus of the non-stop fun with the trio in the second half, you know? As much as I love a vulnerability narrative, we also get that slice of life fun. And with such a good mix of characters, you know?
Fair.
And what about yourself?
I really like tempo. I like the moment where everyone is like itching to develop new skills. I like that like drive that they suddenly get. But obviously I love the barbecue episode. That's a 10 out of 10. Yeah, that's just a given. Come on, people, grow.
I know you love that episode.
It's a great wrap up. It's like a wrap up to the season there. It's like, yeah.
So gang, we have got actual matches to play, even though it might seem weird. Now we've just had all this fun.
Yeah.
We've got some serious business in order. We've got to say goodbye to our mates at the Fukorodani Academy, just for now. We'll see them again soon.
Yeah, we gotta get serious now. We've got matches to play. Yeah.
But we've got to use everything that we've just learned to go to the Spring High Preliminaries, and I am very excited to talk about it. We got Trash Kings to beat.
Oh god.
And the answer to my true or false, hey, it was false.
He doesn't mean spine.
Kenma does not mean spine. However,
Interesting.
Kazumi, his last name, the kanji means claw or nail, which is another cat reference, I assume.
That's it from us. Stay tuned for the next episode,
where we will be seeing who is on their way to representing Miyagi. Please stay tuned, and thank you so much for listening. We hope that you guys like the show. If you want to let us know your thoughts, you can do that simply by emailing us at animeito.podcast@gmail.com. Or, even easier, just go to our website. It's simply animeitopodcast.com.
get in touch. Be part of it.
That is all for today's ep.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Wow, right? Oi, 邪魔すんなボケ、日向ボケ。おやおや。My yakisoba bun is